Brendan, thanks so much for coming on an episode of The Corner Office.
Thanks for having me.
Super excited to have you. Let's just jump right in. Tell us a little bit about the company you work for, Wodify, and your role as the Chief Marketing Officer.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again for having me. So Wodify is a software company, and we make products for gym owners, coaches, and their members. Our flagship product is called Wodify Core, which is an all-in-one gym management system. So billing, class scheduling, member management, performance tracking. We build the tools for gym owners to run their businesses. And today we're used in about 5,000 gyms around the world.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. And you're obviously Chief Marketing Officer. You handle all of the marketing activity, strategy, etc.
Yeah, so mostly involved on the marketing side, obviously, but we're a company of about 55 people and still very entrepreneurial at heart. So, day to day involved in a marketing meeting, sales meeting, working with our customer support team for customer marketing. So still a very collaborative company and work.
That's awesome. And you mentioned you guys are at 55 people now. Now, when we first met, you told me that Wodify started off as a side project of the CEO, Amit Shah. And now you guys are used in 5,000 gyms every day. You guys are killing it. What amazes me is you guys did all of this without raising any outside capital, right? This is all bootstrap. How did that happen? How were you guys able to grow so much without bringing in VC money?
Yeah, so it's a good question. Definitely not a quick, direct answer, but I'll tell a bit of the story and help shed some light on how we were able to do that, because I think it's a non-traditional path, right? The common narrative you hear, and especially in like B2B SaaS companies or tech startups, is have an idea and raise some money and then grow and scale your company. But we started as a side project. Our founder started doing CrossFit. And for anyone who's not familiar, CrossFit's small group training. They do a lot of weightlifting, gymnastics, and he started doing it. And a very important part of CrossFit is tracking your performance and measuring your results. And back then, in 2012, really there wasn't a good system to do that. It was all pen and paper at best, or maybe just write what you did today on the whiteboard and try to remember it in 2 months. And so coming in with a background in technology, where we started was solving a very kind of direct need for CrossFit gym owners to give their members a way to track their performance digitally. And so we took an industry that the most common practice was using whiteboards and pen and paper. And we said, put some screens up in your TV, hang digital screens, and track your performance electronically. It was we were providing enough value where we were able to get paying customers very quickly and able to grow organically and kind of control our own destiny and not need to rely on outside funding or raise outside funding. We had a very close feedback loop with our customers, and from pretty much day one, we're generating revenue that helped fuel and scale the business.
That's awesome. One thing I realized later in the game was in CrossFit you have workout of the day, which is what you're tracking, right?
Wodify.
WOD. So that's where the Wodify comes from, which is
there you go.
Pretty cool. Now, one thing that's kind of cliched in marketing is the customer is king, the customer is always right. How have you guys incorporated user feedback to make products that are better servicing these gym managers and your other targets?
Yeah, so like you said, I think it's almost like a buzzword at this point, like listen to your customers, user feedback, and especially in the startup world, like lean startup methodology is so common, and no one's going to say customer feedback isn't important, but being bootstrapped and generating revenue from your customers, there's a whole nother level of you have no choice but to listen to your customers.
Sure.
So our customers really helped define our entire roadmap early on and build our product. So how that actually played out in the early days was making sure we were actually on the ground with our customers, getting their feedback firsthand. So we would go into a new gym and literally install their hardware for them, work with their coaches and their members and train them on using our software because we were changing a behavior. It was something we were so used to doing, and we were changing. And then just really again, not just going through the academic exercise of doing user interviews and collecting feedback, but literally I'll share one story where we had a customer, one of our bigger gyms, actually local, just outside of Philly, and they reached out to us on a Thursday or Friday, and they said, hey, we love Wodify, but if you guys don't have the feature to let us have wait lists on our classes, when a class is full, let other members sign up and be on a wait list, then we're going to have to switch to one of our biggest competitors next week. Yeah. And again, when you're a scrappy bootstrapped company, that isn't you kind of don't have a choice. And so we actually, like, our engineering team stayed up for like 3 days straight and built the waitlist feature that we've improved it since then, but like it's kind of what we still have today. So the idea of like really, really listening to our customers and actually building what they're asking for, and then holding ourselves accountable by just, we're only going to grow with the revenue we have from customers. So yeah, it was kind of something that we did not use as a brainstorming exercise or as a theoretical practice, just a very like practical, what are we going to build? What do our customers want? What are they going to pay us for? And that grew us from performance tracking to where we are today, where performance tracking was our whole product when we started and is our smallest add-on product now.
Really?
And
wow.
We do payment processing. We processed $500 million in payments last year. We do, like I said, appointment scheduling, class scheduling, all those other things.
You know what I like is it's not just lip service, or you're not just doing like customer feedback or surveys or whatever just to satisfy some marketing need. You're actually getting in with the customers, making things that they actually want, right?
Yeah.
Which is great. Now, you talked about lean startup methodology. I took an entrepreneurship class when I was in school, and that was like the whole, preaching was about keeping your company lean in terms of its costs, not developing products you don't need and trying to validate that business model as fast and as cheaply as you can. We already covered, you guys are in 5,000 gyms now. You're one of the leading gym software brands. But in what ways do you still try to operate like a startup? And if someone who has their own startup is watching this, even when they grow, why is it still important to operate in that lean fashion?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I think the principles of some of that lean startup methodology or whatever you want to call it, like those are talked about most in the earliest stages, but apply to companies of almost any stage. So if you talk about the idea of like testing something with a minimum viable product and getting user feedback and seeing if there's an actual need and customers actually want that, like that, any company at any stage is going through that if they're launching new products or if they're testing new features.
Right.
And so one way that we incorporate, and it's important to us because even though we're still, now 55 team members, 5,000 customers, like we're still a relatively small company and we're still very resourceful and we're still bootstrapped. And so I'll give an example. Last year we launched, so now we're 7.5-year-old company. We do over $10 million a year in revenue, but last year we decided to launch a new product, and won't get into too many details, but it's a way for us to deliver workouts to gym owners who want to subscribe to programming, who kind of want to like buy programming from an expert programmer and get it delivered to their account automatically. And so rather than spending 9 months building out that entire integration and that feature to sell, we literally threw up a landing page and built the entire workflow using a tool called Tray and Airtable, which if you're not familiar with those, you're probably familiar with Google Sheets and Zapier. It's essentially Google Sheets and Zapier. And so we built the entire, it was very like MVP. Like the customer experience was they'd sign up for something, they would pay us for it. Their experience was very seamless. They would get what they were purchasing and it would work very well for them. Yep. On the back end, it was literally like, let's put stuff in a spreadsheet and that's going to set off this trigger and that's how it's all going to work. And we did that in order to validate there was demand for this product in the market. And we didn't write a line of code until we had a couple hundred customers. And it was it was like a couple $100,000 a year in recurring revenue.
Really? All without, you didn't need to build anything out and you guys still brought in that amount of money.
Exactly. So
awesome.
We really proved like, even though we have this big application and an engineering team, it was like almost like a startup inside of our company. Like you can build a product, and again, you still need to deliver the value the customer's looking for.
Sure.
So we didn't do it for free, whatever. Like every single one of those customers is paying us as much as they would have paid us if we built it from the ground up.
And getting the same value, right? It's not like they're
exactly.
getting shortchanged.
But it led us to market in like a month, 2 months or something. It let us generate real revenue, and it let us make all those important like tweaks and changes to the process that you don't get to make if you lay down 6 months of code and then launch, and then the customer's like, well, that would have been nice, but it should work this way. Yeah. When they gave us that feedback early on, it was like, well, let me make a new tab on this spreadsheet. Like, we'll do it that way.
Yeah, when you put so much resources in, you can't really pivot as effectively, right? Like, you don't have much room to go. So that's awesome, and I was in your guys' beautiful office over at 1100 Ludlow Street. It seems like you guys have a really bright future ahead of you, and I'm curious to know, where do you see Wodify 5, maybe 10 years from now?
Yeah, so our company purpose is to empower a fulfilled life. What we mean by that is, like, we make business management software for gyms. It's not that sexy, but when you talk to some of our customers, that's what gets us out of bed every day. They are entrepreneurs building businesses to make people's lives better, and our software helps them do that.
Yeah.
So our 5 to 10 year vision is to empower more gym owners and more fitness entrepreneurs to live a fulfilled life. More kind of like tangibly, what does that mean? Really, it means building a more flexible product that more types of gym owners and businesses can use. So right now, CrossFit gyms are still kind of our bread and butter, but boutique fitness and fitness in general and wellness is continuing to kind of expand and grow, and there's so many different types of businesses that are starting to pop up. So our vision as a company will continue to be product-led and product-focused, and it'll be about building a product that a CrossFit gym owner can use and work great for their business, and a yoga studio owner can use, and a boot camp studio owner can use, and be able to tweak and configure the features and the functionality so it feels like it was like, almost like a custom fit solution for their gym. So that's kind of the vision that we're building towards.
That's awesome. I think you're just another fantastic growing company to have in Philly's startup environment, which is always great.
Yeah, we're excited to be here. I was telling you, like, we got our start in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and just moved to Center City, Philly about a year ago, and are really just like excited about laying down our foundation and our roots here in Philly. And the talent we've seen is awesome, and we're just pumped to be part of this community.
Awesome. So now we reach the part of the show where our guest poses the question of the day to the audience. So go ahead, Brendan. What's your question?
All right, question of the day. So I talked a lot about performance tracking and how performance tracking was really important to us as a company. But my question for you is, what in your life have you started tracking your performance or your results or tracking data on? What habit are you tracking? And how has that helped you achieve or get closer towards achieving a goal?
Awesome question. Thanks so much for watching this episode of The Corner Office. If you have any questions about gym software or even any marketing questions, get in touch with our guy Brendan. He's very knowledgeable on a lot of things. And for all the best content from Philly's execs, keep it right here in The Corner Office. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.